hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Eric Malcolm.
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking straight, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine, you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine, you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah, and this is your daily vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so before we get started, let's see who all is in here. Okay, Deronda G from the land, DJ Big Six. All right, let's get into it, Lawyer. All right. Shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. I see you, Mel, we the people. Juju B is in the house. Okay. Shout out to my moderators putting in work. I see you, Desmond. All right. Trisha is in the house. So let's get this party started. But before we do, let's have a brief word from my sponsors at 12 Tribes. I see you, Andrea.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so let's get into it because we have a lot of topics to cover. All right. Hey, Pensilola. Jeff ATL is in the house. All right, Special K. Okay, so Panther Strike is here. All right, so let's get into it. First things first. Trump's nefarious self. You know, they're supposed to be having the World Cup in Georgia. World Cup qualifier games and all that coming to Atlanta. And but Trump may have other ideas. Okay, let's get into it. Like stuff, everyone, please like and share. Honey, Trump's just doing whatever he wants to do, and these people are foolishly letting him just get away with all this stuff. It's going to come back to bite them in the arse. Okay, please pay attention.
From World Cup qualifier games coming to Atlanta and City Day.
Any city we think is going to be even a little bit dangerous for the World Cup or for the Olympics, you know, where they have Olympic overthrow, right? But for the World Cup in particular, because they're playing in so many cities, we won't allow it to go to, we'll move it around a little bit.
Trump's suggestion to pull games out of what he called dangerous cities is in line with his recent campaign to take on city governments. This year alone, Trump has sent the National Guard to Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., citing crime as the reason. Governor Brian Kemp, speaking from Savannah Friday, didn't address the president's comments directly, but did tout his excitement for the soccer matches.
World Cup's going to be like having, 6 or 7 or 8 Super Bowls.
Well, Trump just might have other plans. I want y'all to pay attention because at the end of the day, Trump said dangerous cities. Now, he may think Atlanta is dangerous because there's a whole bunch of people here that look like me. All right? So while Governor Kemp is kissing his arse, he might want to think twice is all I'm saying. Okay, Retired Federal Bank says, we appreciate you, Queen. Thanks. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you all too. Thank you so much for your kind words and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Now let's talk about former South Carolina Representative R.J. May, who has agreed to plead guilty to child sex crimes. And I find it interesting because, the right wants to act like the left is so nefarious and they have so much going on, but they have been pretty quiet on this. Okay, they have been pretty quiet on this. So let's get into it.
Renewal, plus a second membership free. AARP the magazine and a free gift. Call or go online now.
Piece of breaking news, an update for you. A former South Carolina lawmaker has agreed to plead guilty to charges involving child sex abuse material. Our State House reporter Caroline Jaffa has the latest.
A plea agreement has been reached in the child pornography case against R.J. May. If approved by the judge, May will plead guilty to 5 charges. May was charged with 10 counts of child sexual abuse material after investigators say they traced files shared on the app Kick through accounts using the names Joe Biden with 4N69 and Eric Rentling back to May's home internet and personal cell phone. He was set for trial October 9th, but if this plea is approved, that would change.
Anywhere from 90 to 95% of cases usually get plea bargains, so most cases don't actually go to trial. So him accepting a plea bargain is pretty normative, actually.
Under federal law, the judge can decide whether May's 5 sentences run at the same time or one after another.
I don't know what the sentencing guidelines are on that, but it ain't gonna be 5 years. Let's just be clear about that. I would be surprised if it's not in the double digits. By pleading guilty, the system does reward people for pleading guilty.
Typically what you see when someone is entering an agreement, the agreement is trying to avoid what could have been the most severe sentence.
Attorney Bill Nettles says one of the biggest mistakes May has made since his arrest was the fact that he is representing himself in court.
There's literally no way he could try that case. And so once he made the decision to represent himself, I don't think there was any real plausible path forward for him but a guilty plea.
He says May had great public defenders at his disposal.
Top to bottom seems to be a little bit a problem for him, right? A certain amount of arrogance thinking you're going to get away with it. And there's a certain amount of arrogance thinking that someone who is not schooled in the law was the best choice to be his lawyer, that being himself.
The plea agreement also requires May to register as a sex offender for life, forfeit his electronic devices, and pay restitution to victims. In Columbia, Caroline Jaffa, 7 News.
A judge is expected to make a decision about the plea agreement on Monday afternoon in Columbia.
Okay, a darn shame. Okay, that's a darn shame. Okay, and this man was a state representative. All right, but like I said, the right doesn't have much to say about that. They tried to sweep that under the rug. Okay, please pay attention. That's what they tried to do. But also, in other news, there is a pastor who was caught in South Carolina with corn. Okay, and I'm talking about the kind with people that aren't old enough. This is a judge, not a pastor. Charleston judge accused of having blankety blank, okay, abuse material, waives a hearing. Suspended Judge Gosnell waives hearing. Okay, so let's get into it. It's a bunch of these freaks roaming around here, okay, and many of them are in positions of power and authority, are people whom, are supposed to be trusted or deemed as trusted members in society. And it's just a darn shame. Just a darn shame. From pastors to police officers to judges, you name it. It's all sick.
I'm Raphael James. The suspended Charleston County magistrate judge facing charges in connection to sexually explicit images of children has waived his right to a preliminary hearing. 68-year-old James Gosnell Jr. faces charges of possession of child sex abuse material, according to the United States Department of Justice. He was scheduled to appear on Monday to determine whether a judge would grant him bond. But that hearing lasted only about 5 minutes, and Gosnell's attorney requested 2 more days to prepare for a preliminary hearing. Well, now court documents indicate that Gosnell has waived that hearing, meaning he'll stay in jail, at least for the time being.
Now, you know what's so crazy about this is these are the same people who hold other people's freedom in their hands. Okay, and this is what they're doing behind closed doors.
But this indictment that you have right over there, this is some disturbing stuff.
This is the kind of thing that, you know, unless you have experience with this kind of thing, with reading about it, with addressing it, with fighting it, and a pretty strong stomach, this isn't the kind of thing that ordinary South Carolinians should be reading. It's that level of disturbing.
We're talking 22 pages of an indictment, and the descriptions. The descriptions themselves are difficult to read because the descriptions are pornographic, and you see what has gone on, and the fact that any attempt, let's just be honest, any attempt to turn around and say, well, I was hacked, and you look at the evidence that comes off of phone usage and social media usage and how other searches were done on opposing candidates while you're on a fake account.
On some of the fake accounts.
That sort of stuff just cannot hold up to some sort of defense of, oh, I've been hacked.
Right. I mean, the same device, the same IP address was used to, you know, call his wife, text, amen, happy Easter, you know, and then access and distribute and request more child pornography.
Before you make the decision to watch this video, I need to warn you that there is a massive, massive trigger warning on what we're about to talk about. To give you an idea, this is Judge James Gosnell from South Carolina, and last week he was arrested after hundreds of CSAM images were found in his possession that he was purchasing in the UK. That was actually the least of what it appears he's done, and this conversation is about to get progressively worse. Now, during their investigation, authorities discovered a Telegram account linked to Judge Gosnell, and in that account, they discovered messages where he was apparently explicitly detailing the essay of infants and children, and yes, I said infants, okay, essay that he himself allegedly committed to these children. And what was said in these messages is being described as vile, disgusting, and unthinkable. But again, there is still more. In addition to the images and videos, in addition to the Telegram account with the descriptions, he apparently was also hosting Zoom meetings. Why do you think he was hosting Zoom meetings? Well, apparently it was so that he could teach other child predators his ways. Yeah, that's apparently what happened. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more that comes out of this. I don't want to report on it. I hate cases like this, but it's important for awareness. So if you want to know about it as it comes out, of course, follow, but please do drop your thoughts in the comments. If you are somebody who knows Judge Gosnell, all right, in South Carolina, and he's been around your children, you might want to have a serious conversation with him.
Just a darn shame. Okay, he should be ashamed of himself. This is a whole scandal. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, nothing ceases to amaze me. Like I said, you have judges, politicians, and all of these people. So let's talk for a second about this judge, Judge James Benjamin Gosnell, age 68, of Charleston, on a criminal complaint charging him with possession of child and sexual abuse material. Now, the complaint alleges that agents with the Department of Homeland Security Investigations, that's HSI, received a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children about multiple financial transactions with a known distributor of child and sexual abuse material from the United Kingdom. Now, the payments came from a peer-to-peer online money transfer account associated with Gosnell's known phone number, address, and email account. The transactions occurred in November of 2024. Thereafter, agents obtained a search warrant for Gosnell's home as well as his electronic devices. Now, during the execution of the search warrant, agents located a flash drive containing numerous videos and images depicting child sexual abuse, including videos and images of prepubescent minors, infants, and toddlers engaged in. You can use your imagination, or you probably can't. Things that are deplorable. Okay, that's what I'll say about it. Now, minors, infants, and toddlers, please pay attention. Engaged in things of a what type of nature. This is all so sick. Okay, this man needs to be under the jail, and to think that he was a judge and for how long? He's 68 years old, so probably for decades. Okay, and who knows what all he was doing in his time as a judge. He was probably abusing people who even came through his court system. Okay, now Gosnell was arrested this morning and is set to be arraigned Wednesday morning before U.S. Magistrate Judge Molly Cherry. This case was brought, and mind you, this is on the justice.gov website. Okay, this isn't an article. Okay, so anyway, goes on to say that therefore, agents obtained a search warrant for his home and devices. Okay, Gosnell was arrested this morning and is set to be arraigned Wednesday morning before U.S. Magistrate Judge Molly Cherry. This case was brought as part of a Project Safe Child, a nationwide initiative launched in May of 2006 by the U.S. Department of Justice to combat the growing epidemic of child sexual exploitation and abuse, led by the U.S. Attorney's offices and the Criminal Division's Child Exploitation and Obscenity Section. Project Safe Childhood marshals federal, state, and local resources to better locate, apprehend, and prosecute individuals who sexually exploit children, as well as to identify and rescue victims. For more information about Project Safe Child, and they give you the site to visit, okay, that's justice.gov/PSC. Now, the case was investigated by Homeland Security Investigations. Assistant U.S. Attorneys Catherine Orville, Whit Sowards, and Emily Limehouse are prosecuting this case. All charges in a criminal complaint are merely accusations, and defendants are presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. That is just sad and pathetic. Okay, sad and pathetic. Yes, absolutely, Mel. He is a demon. Okay, and there are lots of demons where he came from. Okay, please pay attention. This is all so sick. Okay, but now let's talk about David, because we have a couple of updates on David, the singer. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm first going to go to this report by ABC 7 News. They say David's Tesla was ticketed 11 days before the teen's body was found. And this came out today. This came out just about 4 hours ago. Okay, so let's get into it.
New details on the investigation into the body found inside a vehicle inside a tow yard.
No arrests have been made, but we are now learning more about the timeline of events. Eyewitness News reporter Irene Cruz has the latest.
Many eyes on this case as this investigation unravels piece by piece. We are getting new information on the evidence here and new timeline details revealed about the days that led up to that gruesome discovery. According to the LA Times, the Tesla registered to singer David was ticketed 11 days before the decomposing body of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas was found in the front trunk. Now investigators are combing through evidence to determine what legal action can be done.
In order for there to be a prosecution, law enforcement has to find some key pieces of information when it comes to a potential homicide. First, they actually need to figure out if it's a homicide or not, and the autopsy report will help give them that. Then they have to figure out the who and the how in order to bring charges.
The Times also reports the lease on the Hollywood Hills home was broken early and that David, whose real name is David Anthony Burke, moved out. Moving crews were seen last week. And now the timeline has also been revealed on the days leading up to the discovery. On August 27th, a parking enforcement officer marked the singer's Tesla in the Hollywood Hills neighborhood where he lived. The officer noted the tire position. Then September 3rd, an officer gave a citation to the Tesla for violating the parking ordinance. 2 days later, it was towed to a tow yard in Hollywood. And finally, September 8th, a tow yard worker noticed the smell and investigators found the teenager's decomposing body. Rivas was in Lake Elsinore and was in the 7th grade. She'd been reported missing by her family at least 3 times in 2024. Her memorial is set for this weekend. In Hollywood, Irene Cruz, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Okay, so now they're talking about when the Tesla was actually ticketed, but also there's a report talking about Celeste Rivas. Okay, said that she was likely dead for at least several weeks before being found dismembered in David's Tesla. The body of Celeste Rivas was found dismembered inside a Tesla, which belonged to singer David. Okay, and had been in the car for several weeks before it was discovered. This is according to police. Now, much remains a mystery about Rivas's death after her body was found inside the vehicle in Los Angeles in an impound parking lot on September the 8th. But LAPD Captain and Commanding Officer Scott M. Williams told People on Sunday, said that we know for sure that Celeste Rivas Hernandez died and someone placed her body in the front trunk area of David Burke's Tesla. Now, here's the thing. The police likely know who did this at this point, in my opinion, because after all this time has passed, I'm quite sure they should have the footage from the Tesla cameras. I would just think. They said, we know that the Tesla had been parked at the location from which it was towed for several weeks. So it is very likely Celeste Rivas Hernandez had been dead for several weeks prior to her body being discovered. The police captain added that the LAPD's robbery homicide division is still probing the case. Williams explained that the Los Angeles County medical examiner has not determined a cause or manner of her death. So we don't know for sure if anyone has any criminal culpability for her death beyond the concealment of her body. Okay, so they say that this comes days after new surveillance footage of the teenager emerged. Okay, so I don't remember if I told you all about that. There was footage that basically showed her walking from her house down the street. Okay, and this was the last day that they saw her, her family saw her or whatever. She's walking down the street, and they just have some footage of that from one of the nearby stores in the area, or one of the businesses. So they say she was reported missing from Lake Elsinore in May of 2024 when she was just 13. Her remains were found a day after what would have been her 15th birthday, although investigators said it appeared she'd been dead for some time. Now security footage of Rivas just weeks before her disappearance has been obtained by TMZ, showing the teenager walking down the street in Lake Elsinore just after 7 a.m. on March 19th of 2024. And they said somebody appeared to have been waiting for her and she got into a vehicle. That's what a witness says. That they saw her walking and then she went and got into the vehicle. Okay, I wonder if her family thought she was going to school because it was like 7 o'clock in the morning. Now the video shows Rivas, who has been identified by her family in the footage, wearing a black hoodie and white pants. Another angle shows Rivas jogging around a corner before disappearing from frame. Now, the footage came from a liquor store surveillance nearby with business owner Eli Nadaf revealing he gave the clips to Rivas' family and that it was the second time the teenager had run away from home. He said he often saw Rivas come into his store to buy soda, chips, and gum. So law enforcement previously revealed that Rivas had run away from home multiple times and was described as coming from a troubled family environment. Now, before officials publicly identified Rivas as the victim, her mother told TMZ she believed her daughter had been dating someone named David. The investigation remains ongoing as authorities work to determine how the teenager ended up in the trunk of the 20-year-old singer's car. Investigators made the grisly discovery after they were called to a Hollywood tow yard to investigate a foul stench coming from the front trunk of Burke's impounded Tesla Model Y. So inside, they found Rivas's dismembered, severely decomposed remains wrapped in plastic. Police recently raided David's now vacated Hollywood Hills rental home in search of blood evidence linked to the dismembered teenager. What was found during the search of the home is not clear. In a statement last week, a spokesman for the LAPD said several items of evidence were collected for analysis. The department has not issued an update in its investigation since. No arrests have been made, and no suspects or persons of interest have been publicly named. So they're not even naming David as a public of interest at this point. Okay. I'm not sure why. But when approached for comment on Wednesday, a spokesman for the department told the Daily Mail that there are no updates, but the investigation is ongoing. Now, they declined to comment on whether Burke is cooperating with investigators. The singer was away performing on the U.S. leg of his Withered World Tour when Rivas's body was found. A member of Burke's team claimed the singer was fully cooperating with police immediately after the body was found. However, after Rivas's remains were identified, Burke's team issued no further responses. Burke's world tour was then quietly canceled, and he retained an attorney who has yet to issue a statement or reply to a request for comment. Police are working to fill in the gap between her disappearance in May of 2024 and the discovery of her body 16 months later. Rivas's family claims to have last seen her on May the 4th of 2024. Her brother Matthew Rivas said that she left home to go see a movie with Burke and never came back. Okay, so you all heard that. And so numerous images have since emerged on social media purporting to show Rivas and Burke together during the time she was reported missing. The nature of Burke's relationship with Rivas is currently being scrutinized by the investigators. Police and the girl's family confirmed Rivas had tattooed in red ink on her right index finger. Okay, matching the one that Burke has. Now, let me say this. So Harvey Levin of TMZ, he did his podcast with Mark Garagos on yesterday, and I watched some of it. So basically, Harvey was saying that he had gotten a tip. He didn't say from where, but he'd gotten a tip that something about the tattoo that she had being written in red. And the police, when he was reaching out to the police to give them some information, they didn't really want to hear it because they thought Harvey was just trying to find out information from them, because that's usually what Harvey's doing, right? And he's had a lengthy relationship with the LAPD. And so basically they thought he's just trying to get information. So they were quite frankly annoyed with him. And this is what Harvey said himself. But then he was like, wait a minute, guys, I've got information for you. So then when he told them that the tattoo on her finger was done in red ink, they were shocked that he knew that, because that was information they had not even released. Okay, so then they listened to hear what he had to say. But just from the conversation with Harvey and Mark Garagos, they were basically saying, if memory serves me correct, it seemed like they were saying that just maybe somebody is framing David, that may be a possibility. Because Mark Garagos specifically thought it would be so stupid for him to just put that body in the car, in the frunk, and then going about his business or whatever. So they were saying, that maybe somebody else did it, but we don't know. Okay, so anyway, internet sleuths have also unearthed an alleged unreleased song of Burke's titled Celeste _demo unfinished. The song's authenticity has not been confirmed, but leakers claim it was recorded by Burke in December of 2023, and the lyrics explicitly reference a girl named Celeste. Niyama Ramani, a former Department of Justice prosecutor, told the Daily Mail that the seeming evidence mounted against Burke already is staggering, and he's shocked an arrest hasn't already been made. Burke, meanwhile, has yet to publicly acknowledge the discovery of Rivas' remains in his car. His Tesla had been abandoned for days near Dehenny Place and Bluebird Avenue, just blocks from the rental home where he'd been staying. Let me tell you all something, too, that's interesting. Okay, not only it seems like David should absolutely have been arrested by now, or at least have been deemed dangerous, but he has not been. This is starting to give Casey Anthony vibes. Do you all remember the story of Casey Anthony when her daughter was dead? Okay, and they said they didn't have she was acquitted. Like, her daughter was dead. They know that she was involved in hiding the body or whatever, but they couldn't prove that she did it because they couldn't figure out how the child died or something weird like that. That's what this is giving. Okay, that's what this is giving. Please pay attention. Now I'm going to go to that Two Angry Men podcast that they did to let you all hear a little bit of what they had to say about David. Okay, on yesterday. Because I can't remember all the details. This was actually from a couple of days ago. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. We're just going to listen to a few minutes of this, and then we got to move on because I want to talk about what's going on with the Romeca Meeks case. And trust me, it's not what you all want to hear, I assure you. Okay, this is not going to be good news because another witness has come forward with a whole nother story than what the first witness said. Okay, and also, by the way, as far as Celeste, remember there were rumors that she may have been impregnated. Well, now they're saying that's not the case. Okay, they're saying that's not the case, that she was not pregnant. So there's one thing that's been cleared up. Okay, I'm just getting an overlay really quick, beloveds. Almost done.
David did it. Here he is with this underage girl. Body is in his car, but he would have to be a psychopath.
Hey, it's not even psycho. Psychopaths are not that stupid.
Welcome to the Two Angry Men podcast. Mark, the biggest story in the TMZ universe right now is David, the singer who had a Tesla, or who has one, and the body of this girl, a 14-year-old girl, Celeste Rivas, was found in the trunk. The car was parked on a busy residential street. It was towed. The tow yard found the body, and the LAPD is in the middle of this wild investigation. We have a lot of information. I have been waiting all week to talk to you. I want to throw things at you and get your take on this.
Please do. Are you going to start with the fact that the medical examiner in LA has not, as normal, because they haven't done the tox screen yet, but hasn't released a full report at this point?
Here's why I'm not really surprised.
Okay.
TMZ is turning 20 next month. In the 20 years we've done it, I cannot think of a single case where the LAPD and the medical examiner and other law enforcement agencies in Riverside and other places have played things as close to the vest as they have in this case. And I will tell you, and in fact, let me just tell you a quick story before we get into the evidence, because we have a lot now. The way this came about is they found the body in the trunk, and it was so badly decomposed, possibly cut up, that's unclear, to the point where they couldn't even tell if it was a man or a woman. We got a tip. The police just said that the victim had a tattoo on the right index finger that said SHHH ... We got a tip that it was this girl, Celeste Rivas. We got in touch with her mother, and we talked to the mother, who said, yes, the tattoo was red, and that she had a boyfriend named David. And we're thinking, wait a minute, the car is registered to David. So I called the LAPD. I called robbery homicide, and I called them to give them her number and her name so that maybe this was the girl. And they didn't return my call. And I thought,
wait, when did you call them? What date?
It was around September 5th when this all came out, before they knew who she was. All they said was, we're trying to figure out who it is. And I thought, well, maybe it's her. So I called LAPD, and I think what they thought was I was just trying to get information. So they didn't call me back. Right. So I call them the next day, and and this is no disparagement to robbery homicide, but they were annoyed that I was even calling. And I said, guys, I want to give you something. And I told them And when I said that she had the tattoo and it was red, I could hear something because they hadn't released that it was red. And I
that
just
it was read yet.
and I just
And
heard
by the way, at what point since September 5th, because you mentioned something that's fascinating to me, it's been reported that the body was dismembered. It's been reported that it was in there for a while. I don't believe, based on what I've seen so far, that you can make a definitive or draw a definitive conclusion at this point, absent some pathologist going in there and actually trying to discern whether it's a dismemberment or it's just part of the decomposition process.
You know, I was having that exact discussion with somebody 5 minutes ago. So I hear you. So look, we left the information, we gave them the information, and that was the last we heard of them. They have been so locked down in such an unusual way. And I'm just going to say it, that
why do you attribute that to?
I don't know. We have sources that normally are available to us. Nobody's available. I mean, it's.
Well, I was going to say, don't take this the wrong way, but TMZ, as you mentioned, is almost 20 years old or is 20 years old. You've had a very robust relationship with the LAPD over those 20 years. So it is strange for me, at least, based on what I've seen over the years, that they have clammed up over this. And that's why I'm asking, you've got to have a gut on that.
Yeah, my gut, look, okay, here, let me lay it out on what we have, and then we can talk about it, because I'm telling you, a lot of people think David is the guy who did this. And I know that, and there is evidence, I think, that points that way.
Hold on. You all are saying you can't hear it? You can't hear it all of a sudden? I don't know what happened. Hold on. Let me start it back. Can you all hear it now? Once in the chat if you can hear it now. Okay, so you all can't hear it. I don't know what's going on, honey. I don't know why you all can't hear it, but anyway, basically, but you all can hear me though, right? Okay, so anyway, basically, I don't know what's going on with that, why you all can't hear it, but basically they're saying that David may not have done this. But I think, okay, you all can hear me, but not the video. Okay, I don't know what happened, honey. I'm not sure what happened with that, but anyway, I'm gonna go to this next update from TMZ. This came out like 30 minutes ago. All right, I'm gonna play this from my phone, so hopefully y'all can hear it. I don't know what's going on with that.
They need that component. It's a huge component. How did she die? They don't know yet. There's only so much they can do in their investigation. So at this point, they're not looking for a person of interest. They're not looking for a suspect because they don't know that there will be one.
What's interesting about that, though, is that there are certain markers that would tell you right away, is it foul play? I mean, stab wounds. There's certainly a gunshot, a strangulation.
But the body was in such awful shape. I mean, she could have been identified through dental work for all we know.
But even if she didn't die of foul play, there's foul play here. I mean, the body was dismembered. Well, right? So I know it's different level of it's not. It's a huge difference. Is it murder or is it cutting up a body? And those are two very different charges. Yeah, both very disturbing. Both very disturbing, but one way worse than the other, undeniably.
We know that this is a complicated, and my source used that word, complicated case. They're going over all the evidence they have right now, which includes going over everything they found in the Tesla, data for a video, and they're trying to figure out what exactly is going on here.
So this is where it gets really interesting. They called it a complicated case, and they have data. If you see, now they have cameras on these Teslas. If you could see somebody walking up to the Tesla with a bag that they then placed in the car, you seem like that's the person you got to, at the least, ain't complicated. Right. That part doesn't seem complicated. Yet there's something more that we don't know. They actually have data from the Tesla, right? This fall, heel pain and sore.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I would imagine that they already have the data.
Deliver.
They told me that they've got a lot of evidence that includes the data.
That they didn't have to go to Tesla.
Correct. And they're going through all of that to see if it will yield a clue. They were very forward with, they don't know yet exactly what all is there. They are still going through all of it.
The one thing they also said to us that I think is really relevant is they are examining the relationship between Celeste and David.
Well, that's correct.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that everyone has been talking about also because she was 14 at the time of her death. How much did David know about her actual age? And what was the actual nature of the relationship? We know that we've spoken to people who partied with them who said that they certainly presented as boyfriend and girlfriend. Yeah, and they were.
Okay, so really, at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, I think David absolutely did this. Okay, I think David absolutely did this. And then people are saying, well, who would be that dumb? Well, David would be that dumb. I mean, I don't think David's that smart. Do you all think he's that smart? What in the hell is he doing dating somebody her age anyway? And clearly they were dating. Okay, that's just what it was. All of these people saw them together a myriad of times. There's video footage of them together. Let's not forget the video that I showed you all, where she told him that it was controversial for him to be graping, okay, someone her age. Basically, you all remember that? You all remember that? So definitely he was dumb, okay? So I don't put anything past him. Yes, Mel said he knew she was a child. Of course he did. Okay, and I think everybody who was around him knew it too. Nobody's going to convince me that they actually thought this little 13, 14-year-old girl was 19. She didn't act like a 19-year-old, I'm sure. Her body wasn't developed like a 19-year-old, I'm sure. She didn't look 19. Even if you look at the stuff she posted on Discord, okay, it was very much, you could tell it was from a young child, a young person. Not somebody 18 and 19. So I'm not believing what they're selling. I think they're all complicit in it. They knew about this relationship that was clearly illegal. And now they don't want anyone looking at them, asking them questions. So, let's everybody just act like we thought she was 19 and she was a college student. There's no way they thought she was an actual college student unless they're just as dumb as a box of rocks. Now, that's just my opinion. Okay, that's just what I have to say about it. All right. So anyway, with that all being said, now let's talk about Romeca. And then we're going to get into these MAGA pastors going in on Black folk. Okay, which is all crazy. I mean, no matter what happens in this country, Black people are always to blame. Are we not? Okay, we didn't have anything to do with Charlie Kirk, but here we are being demonized and vilified. Okay, please pay attention. So this lady did an update. She actually had a sit down a phone conversation with someone who's proposing to be a second witness. And their story was markedly different from the first witness. Okay? It was very different from the first witness. I don't know who's telling the truth or if anybody's lying or whatever, are just different perceptions. Because remember, perception is reality. Okay? And so, anyway, let's talk about it. So basically, what this woman is saying is that this second witness told her, let me just go to her video and pull it up. She's saying that this person told her that Carlos was trying to de-escalate the situation. Said that Carlos was trying to break it up. Now, remember how the first witness said that Carlos was slamming the car door on Romeca? This other witness says that he was trying to push Romeca into the car. He was trying to force her to get back in her car, but she wouldn't stay in there. She kept getting out and trying to run towards Holly. And she says that Holly was saying stuff like, I'm sick and tired of you always trying to come at people about this ninja. Now, this is what this new witness is saying. And it sounds like, basically she's saying that Romeca was the aggressor. I'm not saying she was. I'm just telling you all what this person said. Okay? Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Hold on, beloveds. Okay, here it is right here. This was posted about 8 hours ago. So I'm gonna share this. And you all tell me what you think. I do, however, find it interesting that this person just decided to come out after all this time. And here's the thing. They would not allow her to record them and put their voice on social media. They basically said they didn't want their voice on social media and that they would just let her transcribe everything that they had to say. So that's all we have is her reading what they said because they didn't want their voice on social media. And I'm just wondering and they also said the first witness lied. They said they were the one that called the police. They called 911. Now, I don't think the first witness lied. Maybe they both called 911. That could be the case. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, I'm not going to play this whole thing. I'll just have to tell you all the rest because I don't want to be here all night.
School. We've even seen the sweet note that she wrote him, which ultimately turned out to be the last. Just days after the incident, speculation has caused the internet to be on different sides. Did Holly and Carlos set Romeca up? Was this a case of wrong place, wrong time? Was Romeca the aggressor? Did somebody just get away with the perfect murder? I'm Naja Hall, and this is Naja News.
Person with a gun, 2200 South State. You got a female black, light complexion, green tracksuit, has a gun. Fighting with another female black, dark complexion.
So let's walk through this together. Police scanner audio reveals that a fight broke out, followed by reports of a woman seen with a gun. The incident happened after 9 in the morning on September 8th at Cermak and State. 31-year-old Romeca Blackman got into a physical altercation with another woman. Both of them share a child with the same man. He was also present at that scene. The other woman pulled out a gun and shot Blackman, then admitted to it in a video recorded at the scene and widely shared on social media.
I want to know how did she just walk away? How? When they told you that he had her in the headlock, how did he even walk away?
So just to clear this up so it makes even more sense, that woman that she's talking about filed protective orders against Blackman dating back to December of last year and as recently as this summer. The family believes it was all done to create a paper trail against Blackman. In the video, the shooter did say she had a concealed to carry license. She was taken.
Okay, I'm fast forwarding because we've heard all of this before.
Witness that I spoke to. For obvious reasons, I am protecting their identity. Pull the gun out. I came right back and Romeca was dead. All I can...
Hold on, let me back it up a little bit.
This person lives in the Chicago area, obviously, and this conversation took place around 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Oh, and before I read this, I'd like to add, there is another witness that I'm hoping to speak to, and I do have their information. And perhaps if they see this video and how I present facts when it's concerning an eyewitness, then they'll feel comfortable with coming and talking to me. So after a few minutes of getting acquainted and getting to know one another, I asked the witness, did you see the altercation from the beginning? They said, I was there, but I pulled off once I seen the woman pull the gun out. I came right back and Romeca was dead. All I can say is the way they're making the guy look is not true. Oof.
Other tires are designed to have limits. This one is engineered.
He was trying to de-escalate. Also, the Mexican woman and her boyfriend were not out there when it first started. I said, okay, when did you arrive on the scene? At what point during the interaction? I did have to redact this part because it has identifying details, but this witness was in the area. The witness says that they saw all of the cars on the scene that were there and that they had made the left and went back up the street. Took care of a personal matter, and within about 2 minutes, by the time the witness got back to the corner that they started at, where they initially saw the beginning of an incident, they say they saw all of them in the street. I said, did it look like a physical fight between two people, two women, or who was fighting? I did not see a physical fight at that moment. It was more him trying to get Romeca back in her car and she wouldn't go. She turned around and said something to that girl and came at her. That girl pulled the gun out. Romeca was still coming at her. When I seen the gun, I pulled off because that's how close I was. I said, I don't blame you for pulling off. The witness.
Okay, now I have several questions. She said that the first witness who spoke out was not there the whole time and didn't see the whole thing. Well, that witness told us that. She said she wasn't there the whole time and didn't see the whole thing. She said she pulled up on the 21 bus. Okay, this witness says herself that she drove away and came back. Said she went to go take care of some personal business, but then said she came back in 2 minutes. What in the hell business could you take care of in 2 minutes? Okay, I have several questions. And then she said she left when she saw Romeca with the Holly with the gun, because that's how close she was. Okay, if she was that close, that she literally was afraid when she saw the gun, I mean, that says a lot, because why wasn't she in any of the video footage? Why didn't anybody talk to her? I'm just wondering, did the police talk to her? I don't know. Something doesn't sound right about this to me. And also, this lady says that she has another witness who's saying the same thing this witness is saying. Now, what's funny for me is the fact that both of these witnesses, the second one she hasn't spoken to as of yet, or she has spoken to them, she says that they're saying something similar to what this person's saying. My thing is, why are they just now coming out? Okay, I'm inclined to not believe them. Are these Carlos's cousins or friends that he's now sent to act as though they were witnesses at the scene? Okay, to change the scenario? Because I find it interesting, because we know what we heard and the initial video from the crime scene. We know what we heard when the first witness and her boyfriend both were yelling, "No, you did it. You didn't have to shoot her. No, it wasn't self-defense." We heard them saying this. And then also when she said Carlos was telling people not to snitch. Now, this person wants us to think that she was there. She left to handle personal business, came back 2 minutes later, and this is what she saw. He was trying to put Romeca in the car. What about when the part where, and it's funny because she doesn't say anything that the first witness says about Holly saying, "Oh, I'm going to shoot you, B, I'm going to shoot you." She says that Holly said, "Oh, I'm sick and tired of you messing with people behind this ninja." That's not what the first witness said. Somebody's lying in here.
It says, the Mexican lady is lying. I called the police. I was going to keep going, but something told me to go back because I wanted to tell them it's not like that. By the time I came back, Romeca was on the floor. There were more people outside, and it wasn't even a 3-minute stretch. I don't know where all those people came from. They weren't even there before. I said, well, they probably heard or saw an altercation and came back around. Then the witness says, the Mexican woman says in the video that she got off the 21 bus. There is a bus stop closer there, but it's on the other corner. And I know people are saying that those two people set Romeca up, but that's not.
She can miss us with it because I already proved to you all that the witness was not lying about the bus. She says she was on the 21 bus for Cermak, right? And where it pulls up is right there where everything happened. I showed you all the route. If you all remember once in the chat, if you all remember that I literally Googled it to make sure the witness was not mistaken. If you all remember, put a 1 in the chat. I literally looked up the 21 bus and the route that it takes. You all remember that? Okay, so we already have confirmed that she was on the bus number 21 and where she got off at. And I believe what she said, okay? Because she was honest enough to say that she didn't see the whole thing. She got off of the bus and that's when she saw the commotion and started paying attention. Okay, but let's continue.
Not what it looked like at all. I said, that's not what you witnessed. And then I did ask about the witness that we heard in the video that was with her boyfriend or her man friend that was loud. And that witness went on to do an interview on another platform last week, I believe. So I said, there's a person who claimed that they got off the 21 bus. From your vantage point, was that possible? You also said the Spanish speaking person might not be telling the whole truth. The witness says, I don't think so. And especially about the headlock situation.
This is somebody Carlos got to lie. I'm sorry. She said, I don't think the witness is telling the truth, and especially about the headlock situation. First of all, what in the hell would the witness want to lie for? She has no dog in the fight. Her and her boyfriend don't even know these people. Why would she want to just come and make up something and say, oh, he had her in a headlock? She's not lying about that. You know how you know she's not lying about that? Because she literally said it to them on the scene. She said it to their faces. She didn't say this behind their back. She told them on the scene, if you all remember. She said he had her in a headlock. She also said it wasn't self-defense, and she said that to them. Okay, she said that to them. And we've already heard the 911 call with that witness speaking on it. This person saying the witness lied about calling 911. No, she isn't. And not to mention, there was more than one 911 call because the first witness said she actually called 911 twice. Okay, the first was because she saw Carlos putting hands on Romeca, and then when it was Romeca and Holly, she called the police again. And if you remember, you can hear, you know that's what she's told them because the dispatcher is saying a female, dark skin, white car, altercation with another female, and then she said something about a gun. Okay. Now, this lady wants us to believe her side of the story, but lady, you literally said you drove off when you saw the gun. Another thing I find interesting is she claims that the gun was on top of the car. Now, let me tell y'all something here. This is all real slick. I want y'all to pay attention. She says the gun was on top of the car. First of all, why in the hell would Holly have a gun on top of the car unless, of course, she was already planning on using it? But when she said the gun's on top of the car, you know why I think she's saying that? I think she's saying that the gun was on top of the car so that it won't look like Holly was endangering her child having a gun inside the car with her child because the 6-month-old was in the back seat. And y'all know Holly can't see her baby right now. Her child's been taken away from her and her family has it. Okay, so is this what they're trying to do? Trying to clean it all up? Trying to say Carlos didn't have her in a headlock? No, he was trying to de-escalate it. He's the good guy. They're lying on him. They're making him look bad. And also, Romeca was the one trying to get to Holly. Holly had the gun on top of the car, not in the car. Yeah, this all sounds like a bunch of convenient lies that somebody just made up. Okay, I'm not falling for it, but let's keep listening.
What I can make out is some licks were passed and he grabbed Romeca, but not holding her down for that woman. It was not like that at all. He grabbed her and the other woman did what she did. She shot her. They were not tag teaming her at all. I kept seeing him trying to push Romeca to get back in her car. He said, get the F back in your car. She would wiggle away from him and then charge at the other woman again. So I said, they weren't jumping her.
You hear the call and the leaves rustling, birds singing. You hear
who appeared to be the most aggressive person on the scene. She said, Romeca. The young lady took the pistol out. Did you see her approach Romeca with a gun or was she just standing there? The witness says she did not approach Romeca at all. She never stepped away from her car. So I said, So she was by her car. The witness says, and she did not go inside her car. The gun was on top of her car. So I said, the gun was already on top of the car. Then are you saying that she grabbed it and Romeca was coming toward her and she fired a shot? The witness says, once she upped that gun, I pulled off. Anything after that, I don't know. So then I said, so you saw her take the gun from the top of the car? The witness says, yes. I asked, was a car door open? The witness says one of their car doors were open. All the cars were parked. Both.
Sierra says, didn't the school have cameras outside? Well, here's the thing, beloved. The school likely has cameras, and there's probably even other businesses with cameras that they may possibly be able to get footage from, and hopefully that's what they're doing. But here's the thing. It has now come out that this did not happen exactly at the school. Okay, it was down the street or across somewhere in the vicinity of the school. Now, Romeca had left the school, and they say she made a U-turn. Okay, and then Carlos's people try to say, oh, she made a U-turn to pull up on them, but other people said she had to make a U-turn anyway to get on the expressway. Now they're saying that Carlos was going to the gym, but where was Holly going? Okay, where was Holly going? Like Carlos's people are saying he was on his way to the gym. He could have been on his way to the gym, but where was Holly going? Okay, she had her kid in the car. Was she leaving his house? I don't know. But something about this whole thing sounds sketchy to me. Okay, it just is not adding up. This version specifically.
Female driver's doors were open. I said, where was Carlos when Romeca was approaching Holly? The witness says, in the middle, trying to break it up. Romeca kept breaking from him, like I said, and started running to the girl. The girl pulled the gun. He instantly went to Holly and was pushing her arm down, like putting her hands down on her forearm. So he tried to stop it.
Now, see, this lady who's reporting this is sitting up here saying it as if she believes it just because this person told her that. She's acting like she's changing her opinion because this other witness said something different. I'm not changing my opinion until I see some facts and proof, because somebody is telling a damn lie. And to me, it sounds like this witness is telling a lie. This is not making any sense. Why would you wait so long? If you've seen people crucifying Carlos all over the internet, people saying that he's the one that set it up, and all this has been going on for weeks, since the 8th, okay? 3 weeks. Well, how come you haven't come out and said anything until now? Did y'all just now get this story together? Okay, because it sounds real sketchy. Okay, it sounds real sketchy. And then listen to this. She said that both of the ladies were standing between their car doors. Okay, Romeca on her car, Holly was across from Mika's car, not far, like right across from it. So with that all being, at least that's what's been reported. So with that all being said, Romeca didn't see the gun on top of Holly's car. So you mean to tell me Romeca's running and charging at somebody who's got a whole darn gun that she could clearly see if it's on top of the car? Because if you're arguing with somebody, okay, I'm sure you're watching their every move. You're watching what they're doing, okay, because you don't want them to sneak you or anything like that. You have your eyes on them. So Romeca sees Holly and this gun's on top of the car and Romeca's charging her. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. Jay Gray said it does sound rehearsed, Queen. Yes, that's exactly how it sounds, beloved. But let's keep listening.
The witness says, and Romeca was still coming, and I pulled off. I got out of there. The witness says, yeah, and he grabbed her, and that's exactly how it happened. What I did witness was that man trying to de-escalate. That's the honest truth. Then I said, as for his emotions, he seemed shocked. Most of us don't know what we do in that situation. And the witness said, exactly, and he kept telling the crowd to get back. He was just standing around walking in circles, dazed. And a lot of the bystanders were really loud and it was a lot happening. And he probably thought that they would attack Holly.
Okay, she's lying. And I'm going to tell you how you know she's lying. This witness just said what he was doing, right? And then said, and he probably thought they would attack Holly. How the hell would she know what he thought? How would she know what he thought? You know who this witness sounds like? I want you all to pay attention. I don't even know if this witness is a male or female. I keep saying to her, we don't know if it's a male or female, but what I do know is this witness is starting to sound just like none other than Quadri Sanford, the one who was posting those videos to try to clear Carlos. Remember how he came up with the whole scenario and he was like, yeah, Romeca was probably stalking him and Holly, and she probably pulled up and saw them, and she probably got mad, and she probably did this, and then she probably did that. When you start making up all of these scenarios and you don't have any basis for even coming up with this foolishness, that's you trying to cover for somebody. This witness just said he probably thought they were going to attack Holly. Why in the hell would anybody attack Holly when she has a whole gun? When she has a whole gun, why would anybody attack her? And even if so, why would you know, the witness that is, what Carlos was thinking? And then here's another thing. Did y'all catch this? She said, did she not? Didn't she say that she left when she saw the gun? So if she left when she saw the gun, how does she know everything that happened? She left twice. She left when she first pulled up. She said she left for about 2 minutes to go handle business and came back. Then she said she left when she saw the gun. And then by the time she came back, Romeca was on the ground. But she's trying to act like the first witness is incredible because they got there late. Like, this is not even making any sense. Okay, I'm not buying what she's selling. Let's continue.
And then I had to ask about the Latino or Spanish couple, or the people with the Spanish accents again. I said, from the video, I saw a man walking around and a girl that was angry or loud with a Spanish accent. Those two were the loudest and most recognizable voices in the video. And the witness says, yeah, I think they might have been a couple, or they were at least together or something. The witness really went on to be regretful and lament about how they couldn't show up and do an interview because they see the online discourse that's happening and they wanted to clear it up and tell people what they saw. Now, this really flips the narrative and it de-villainizes one person.
No, it doesn't, because I don't believe a darn thing this witness is saying. And here's the thing right here. Here's why I really don't believe any darn thing they're saying. Because for one, this witness, I'm going to stop it right there. For one, this witness doesn't even want the lady that interviewed her or him. They don't even want this lady to record their voice. Now, she said to them, if you call 911 and I play the 911 call, your voice is going to be on it if I can get that 911 call. And she was like, yeah, you know, if that happens, first of all, the Mexican lady was the one that called 911. We already heard the 911 call. Okay. Now, this person saying they made the call. Well, I'm going to have to hear that call to make that determination because I don't believe it. I do not believe what this person is saying at the end of the day. Okay, something about it all sounds fishy as far as I'm concerned. But what do you all think? What do you all think? I don't know. This is giving... I'm just not sure that I believe it. Okay, it all sounds a bit sketchy. But hold on. Let's listen a bit further because we might find something else out. Hold on. Let's make sure we don't miss anything. Let's hear the last of it. Okay, likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Let's just go ahead and listen to the rest of this because I got to figure this all out.
Something. The witness really went on to be regretful and lament about how they couldn't show up and do an interview because they see the online discourse that's happening and they wanted to clear it up and tell people what they saw. Now, this really flips the narrative and it
I think the witness may not want to come online and have their voice heard and their face seen because they could be lying. They could just be lying, okay? Because she's not seen this person. She only spoke with them over the phone. And then they supposedly told her they don't even know how she got their phone number. How did she get their phone number? Maybe somebody conveniently leaked it to her so they could tell her these lies. That's what I'm kind of thinking.
Villainizes one person and it makes the other look like the aggressor. In the next portion of the conversation, I let the witness know that I did request the 911 tapes. And since they were one of the people that called the 911, then myself and probably other outlets would be playing the tapes. And the witness says, if that's the case, then that's fine. I just don't want to do any interviews with my voice right now. I did call the police because nobody else was trying to. If the video comes out or if you put it out, you'll hear exactly what I told the police on the phone. And if there's video around, you can see my car in the area. I was there. I asked the witness, has Chicago PD called them? And they said, yeah, the day that the lady was getting released. They wanted me to come in and I told them, no, leave me alone. I don't want to be put in there and end up on the stand. I don't even know how you got my number. I didn't even know that once you call the police, they could get your phone number. I just didn't think that far about all of this. And I told the witness that's why a lot of people don't come forward. They don't want their voice, their likeness, their license plate and address out there. The witness says, hey, people are going to be really mad at me. The witness also said they didn't want their voice out there because they see what's happening online and the people that are getting demonized in this case, and they don't want to be attacked because what they're saying that they saw does not fit the narrative of who people want to portray the deceased to be. I firmly believe you can be a very loving, doting mother and still be a scrapper out there in the street.
Yeah, you can, but is that the case? Okay, is that the case? I don't believe this witness. I'm sorry. I'm going to need more proof at the end of the day.
You can fawn over your child.
I'm going to fast forward.
You pull back around. How long was that? The witness says it couldn't have been any more than about 2 minutes. The witness goes on to say, I had pulled over to talk to the police. Then I was going to keep going to the grocery store like I was on my way to do. Something told me to go back because I wanted to tell them what I saw. I wish I would have said something then, but that gun, the witness voice cracks. It was so fast. Once I seen the gun, I left, honestly. I'm glad I left. I don't ever want to see somebody's life ending. Even though I seen her out there, that's still in my head. I think about that woman every single day, all of them. I wish it was another way. And I asked the witness, could they hear any words? Could they make out what any one of them were saying? And the witness says, one thing that Holly did say out there was, you keep fucking with everybody about this. You keep fucking with everybody. She said that. And also, I've been seeing Carlos or somebody put up videos of Romeca being aggressive outside of Disney. And I said, yeah, I saw those. And the witness said, yeah. Is that what you saw that day, like in those videos? The witness says, I did. His body was in front of hers and she was in her car door. Her car door was open and she was standing up. I really couldn't hear what Carlos was saying because she was the one yapping. It's an interesting use of words. So I said, what was she saying to him? I really can't remember, but she was the one talking. I said, was she yelling or talking like you and I? More high pitched, but not super loud with profanity. That's why I stopped my car initially. She was standing in her driver door, but he just couldn't pull her in the car and make her sit down. She stood in it so he couldn't push her in the car. She said something, then turned to Holly. Then Holly said something. Then Romeca turned to the side, ran around Carlos and started going toward Holly. And she asked her what, and I had to take this part out to redact it, what something was. She went at her. The other woman literally turned around, grabbed the gun off the top of her car outside, and I pulled off. She was still going at her. While he was breaking it up, Holly said, I'm tired of you fucking with everybody about this. That's all I could make out that was said. I really can't even remember anything else after that. I just thought it was a regular fight. So I asked, so when Romeca was standing in her car door and talking, was Carlos across from her? Because at this point, I'm trying to get a good gauge of where everybody was. The witness says, no, he was literally at her car door trying to get her back in the car. I said, and Holly? The witness says, Holly wasn't nowhere from her car. She was standing in her car with the driver door open, with her back to the car. She didn't appear aggressive to me until the woman started coming at her. And it started to dawn on me, this is probably why the police didn't prosecute.
Pappy, why can't I ever remember a song?
More than we know. This is speculative, but I'm willing to bet that Holly and Carlos were probably able to show previous conversations where they were being threatened and Holly felt valid in her fear against Romeca. And just to add another point, I got some screenshots from another source and they corroborate this version right here. And they say that Holly's baby was in the back seat of her car and Romeca was going for one of the windows. So if that baby was in the back seat and she's going for the window, and keep in mind the restraining order protects Holly and her baby, I'm just trying to understand how we could go from a physical fight to a gun being drawn. But let me get back to the witness statement. The conversation went on for a few more minutes, and I did ask the witness, would they be willing to allow me to record their voice and skew their voice? And the way we edit voices, nobody could even tell if you're male or female. But the witness declined, and I have no choice but to respect that. The witness did say, I wish there was a way I could help him, but I really don't know what else to do because I don't really see what they could charge him for. I saw him try to smack her arm down. He looked so stressed out. That man looked lost. He looked dazed. That's the crux of the conversation. And this changes things. This changes the narrative.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they wanted to do is change the narrative. It doesn't change anything for me until I see some hardcore evidence, because I think this is all lies and BS. And whoever these two witnesses are that have decided to come forward all of a sudden, I think they're probably somebody that's related to Carlos. That's just what I think. Okay? That's just what I think. So you mean to tell me that all of a sudden now we're supposed to think that Romeca was the aggressor? She came for Holly and then was coming for Holly's car window with the baby inside? Is that what we're really supposed to believe? First of all, if Holly had a gun on top of the car and Holly standing close to that gun, because the witness supposedly said that Holly was standing right there in her car door, the gun on top. So you mean to tell me with a gun on top, you standing close to said gun, Romeca's trying to come over and bust out your window? Yeah, I don't think so. That doesn't even sound right. That doesn't even sound right. Who's thinking about coming at somebody's window when the person that you just said they were trying to fight standing right there? Why would they be coming for the window? Okay, this is all crazy. Okay, special case said I'm still 10 toes down for the first witness, and I am too. This witness sounds too damn sketchy. Now this other witness doesn't even want their voice recorded, even if she skews it, probably because they're lying. Okay, because this is all a script given to them by Carlos, just like the one that he supposedly gave Quadri Sanford. Okay, I don't believe any of it, because all of this is making it look like Romeca was the aggressor, and the only ones saying that are these two people and Quadri. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just not buying it. The witnesses who were there previously, the Mexican lady and her boyfriend or husband, they were very adamant at the scene. They were arguing at the scene. Okay, they were argumentative. No, this was not self-defense. You had her in a headlock. Don't y'all remember that? If somebody's going to lie on you, 9 times out of 10, they do it behind your back, not to your face. Okay, and they told the police also, you could hear the girl saying, the first witness saying, the gun, she put the gun in the car, she shot her. Where is this person? Where were they? Where were they? Because she said she left when she saw the gun, but she came back, right? Did she come back to the scene? This witness said she left when she saw the gun. She had to have come back to the scene, right? Because didn't she say that Carlos was looking dazed and he was telling everybody to get back, and all of that? And then talking about how people grieve differently. He wasn't grieving at all. He was fist pumping Holly Johnson, Quadasia Johnson, and saying it was self-defense, right? Sounds like it was all planned to me. Okay, this witness can miss me with it. But anyway, it's going to all come out in the wash, I'm pretty sure. So with that all being said, let's get into these pastors who have so much to say about Black folk. Okay, because one, Rita Williams says, hey, Queen Ahmadiyyah, why was the girl at her school anyway? Exactly. Now they're trying to say that Carlos was going to the gym, but where was Holly going? Why was she in the vicinity? I have questions, beloved. I have questions. Mel says Holly bring a pow-pow to a fist fight. Exactly, because she couldn't fight. Okay, that's what it sounds like. Oh, crazy. Oh, crazy. And then the first witness said that Romeca and Carlos were the ones arguing. And then Holly inserted herself into it. And that's what I believe. Okay, that's what I believe. So now with that all being said, until further notice anyway, we get some more solid evidence, that's one thing. But until then, this he said, she said, I'm not listening to it. Okay, now let's talk about these pastors. There is a pastor by the name of Joel Webbon who had a whole lot to say about Black folk. Okay, let's get into it.
If you're a Christian white parent who loves the Lord and loves your children, that you need to have the talk.
I'm listening.
It says there are certain parts of town that you cannot go.
It's Sunday afternoon when all the wine moms hit brunch in Buckhead.
There are certain people that you cannot be around.
Oh, for sure. Most of them are holding signs saying, debate me, bro.
Yep. Right? If you go into a crowd of strangers and they're white strangers, there's some danger. If they're black strangers, there is 30 times more danger. Them's the facts. And it is actually a failure of your parental duty. White parents, please hear me. If you teach your children growing up, if you lie to them and say all people and all races of people in our country are the same, they are not. You are actually depriving your child of factual, truthful information that could save their life.
That guy that you just saw right there is Joel Webbin. He is the founder of Right Response Ministries, and he's the senior pastor of Covenant Bible Church in Georgetown, Texas. He has been making headlines for a long time. Last year it was because he said he wanted the false sexual assault reports to be punishable by death. Obviously, he is Charlie Kirk, but he also had this to say, which I thought was interesting.
I believe that Charlie Kirk's murderer should be put to death and that his execution should be publicly, nationally televised. It's good for the public to see if they so desire. That's up to them, their own volition. But more importantly, arguably, it is good for others who have murderous hearts, who may be thinking of carrying out wicked deeds against conservatives, against Christians. It's good for them to see.
To absolutely nobody's surprise, Joel Webbin is connected with Doug Wilson, who is, as you might remember, the pastor that Pete Hegseth, our Secretary of Defense, whatever, the pastor that he just platformed when he was, arguing that women shouldn't be able to vote. This is all just one little club, and in the coming days, we are going to see just how interconnected this little club is. I am a Christian, and I am a white guy. And for those reasons, I oppose white Christian nationalism with everything in my being. And I will not stop having smoke for this movement until it is eviscerated. Be excellent to each other, and go make life more difficult for a fascist today.
There's a guy named Joel Webbin, and he is a MAGA pastor. And in the MAGA tent, alarmingly, the loudest voices lately have been voices like this.
I think we have seen the curse unfold of feminism, and it's not enough to just say, let's just keep men out of women's sports and we'll be okay. Or even to just say, all right, we went too far. No more women in positions of combat. No more women in Congress. Right. No more female state reps. No more women in any function of societal leadership.
This is the master plan. And we're not even remotely being hyperbolic here, because Project 2025 echoes these same sentiments. When you are a part of this movement and you forget that you were able to go to college because of the hard work of the suffragettes and other women, when you forget history and you dismiss history and you don't acknowledge facts, women in the MAGA movement right now are just props. Caroline Leavitt is a prop. At some point, those knives are going to be turned against you.
Okay, so you all heard that. He had a whole lot to say, saying they need to warn their children about us. I beg to differ. I think it's the other way around in many cases, okay? What about these black folk who go off with a bunch of people who don't look like them and don't turn up, don't show back up alive, okay? Turn up dead. But we're the problem. These people have a whole lot of nerve, and these Christian nationalists are nothing more than wanton supremacists, okay, who use the Bible to spew hatred. Okay? The nerve of him acting as though we're the problem with their nefarious history all over the world, not just in this country. I find that very interesting, don't you? But let's go to this next one, because he's a piece of work. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. I mean, it's the audacity of it for me.
Let's say that somebody was coming into our church and they're black, and would they be eligible for membership in our church? Yes, of course they would. They'd be eligible for membership in our church. But would they be permitted to participate in, embody, and practice what I would call black culture generally in our church? The answer is absolutely not. Why? Because the characteristics that mark black culture as a generalization, in the same way Paul's talking about Cretans on Crete, they are evil, murderous, violent, bestial people. They steal, they kill, they destroy. They are sinful to the core.
There's just so much hate
behind everything that he said. It's extremely ignorant, unprovoked. I don't know why he was speaking this way. There's no way that anyone could tell me I'm taking this clip out of context either. He said everything that he meant. No one has to guess how you feel about Black people. A lot of people who do not like Black people speak this way on Black people. And they speak in a way to say that all Black people are bad and they all are criminals and they all do this and they all do that. And another thing, nobody wants to go to your church anyway, bro.
Mm-mm. I mean, it's the nerve of it. Then he said they're bestial, basically saying we're like animals. Okay, I find that interesting, specifically coming from him. Okay, he said we're like animals, basically calling us depraved. Okay, please pay attention.
Almost. Let's say that somebody was coming into our church and they're Black, and would they be eligible for membership in our church? Yes, they of course they would. They'd be eligible for membership in our church, but would they be permitted to participate in, embody, and practice what I would call Black culture generally in our church? The answer is absolutely not. Why? Because the characteristics that mark Black culture as a generalization, in the same way Paul's talking about Cretans on Crete, they are evil, murderous, violent, bestial people. They steal, they kill, they destroy. They are sinful to the core. They have besetting sins that are like fatherlessness, sexual immorality. They molest children at a high rate. All of any criminal statistic that you could look at, almost pretty much without exception, they excel at them. Black culture.
And it's even interesting. I mentioned it before, but like the Black guy on TikTok, he was saying, he's like, y'all crazy. Like, you talking about this person like it's mental health. He said, that ain't no mental health. That's a demon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of people are seeing that. Like, this behavior is demonic. To walk up to a white girl.
But yeah.
And to cut
because
her throat.
She's white.
Because she's white, and be like, yeah, we got that white girl.
We got that white girl. And when you think about it, you look at that culture and you say, what are the besetting sins and characteristics of it? And then you say, could somebody come in a lawful church membership embodying that culture? No. They have to self-consciously repudiate that culture.
I can't say what I want to say, y'all, but watch this. Okay.
But even, let's say that somebody was coming into our church and they're Black, and would they be eligible for membership in our church? Yes, they of course they would. They'd be eligible for membership in our church. But would they be permitted to participate in, embody, and practice what I would call Black culture generally in our church? The answer is absolutely not. Why? Because the characteristics that mark Black culture as a generalization, in the same way Paul's talking about Cretans on Crete, they are evil, murderous, violent, bestial people. They steal, they kill, they destroy. They look like Satan in how they act. They are sinful to the core. They have besetting sins that are like fatherlessness, sexual immorality. They molest children at a high rate. All of any criminal statistic that you could look at, almost pretty much without exception, they excel at them. What are the besetting sins and characteristics of it? And then you say, could somebody come in a lawful church membership embodying that culture? No. They have to self-consciously repudiate that culture. They have to leave it behind, repent of those sins. And not every individual practices those sins, but they could, by no standard, embody those practices and come into membership in our church. Of course not. So when we make this generalization, one of the purposes of it, one of the points of utility for it, is for Black people who do not embody that culture to repudiate it, hate it, and also for policymakers to make the kind of political movements and in terms of law and order that would usher in the change over time of that culture. One of them would be something like, I tweeted about this, the law of Moses in Deuteronomy 21 concerning a rebellious child. The law was that if you had a rebellious son, you have a child they're coming up into their manhood and they're rebellious, they don't listen. He lists some characteristics and even though they're disciplined, they will not turn. He says the fathers to bring them out into the town square. This is a rebellious son, and then they stone him to death. They kill him.
And an armed robber would certainly be one of those.
Oh, absolutely. Armed robber, all the ghetto
violent
culture.
crimes.
Basically, take ghetto culture, it would describe this to a T. If you did that over 3 generations, how much violent crime would you have in the 3rd and 4th generation? Much, much less. Let's say that somebody was coming into our church and they're black.
I'm not a pastor, but I feel like that would be a preferable scenario.
Would they be eligible for membership?
Okay, do y'all hear this man? This man is laughable. Okay, he's quoting these fake R statistics, okay, that are not even true. Didn't he say that black people commit most of the PDF files and all that? Let's go to it because y'all know I just look up the receipts. See, he's banking on stupid people who listen to stupid people like him, not doing the research and spreading the same lies that Charlie Kirk spread. Okay, then talking about ghetto culture. I'm sorry. He doesn't think that beard on his face is ghetto. Now, here's what I looked up in Chat GPT just to make it quick. Okay, it says uh what group is arrested for the most PDF file? That's what I typed in. All right. So that all being said, there's no credible evidence that any religious, ethnic, or sexual orientation group is disproportionately responsible for PDF file based on reliable data. But here are the key takeaways. Most people arrested for child sexual offenses are male. That is one demographic characteristic consistently observed. Race ethnicity data show more arrests among white people for some types of sex offenses, but this often reflects population sizes, reporting biases, policing focus, and other factors. Okay, I just want y'all to pay attention. So, honey, he's just sitting there telling a bunch of lies as far as I'm concerned. All right, but isn't that what they do? Isn't that what they do? Now let's go to another pastor, Pastor Paul Dries. I believe it's his name. Hold on. Share my screen.
Imagine if you took Christianity, instead of using it for liberation, you used it for oppression. This is what you would get. Here's the tweet. You can pause it and read it if you want. It's gross. We hear a lot about Jesus eating.
Hold on, let me go back to that tweet.
Gross.
It says, dear ladies, now this is the pastor that you just listened to, Pastor Brian Suave or Sauve. Okay, I believe it's Suave. That's what it's spelled like. He says, dear ladies, there is no reason whatsoever for you to post pictures of yourself in low-cut shirts, bikinis, bra, and underwear, or anything similar, ever. Not to show your weight loss journey, not to show your newborn baby, not to document your birth story, your brothers. Ha!
We hear a lot about Jesus eating with sex workers. You know what he never says? Anything like that. You might say, what about in 1 Corinthians, where St. Paul says that women should dress modestly? Well, about that.
You check this out. This, you can pause and read if you want. Basically, this section is just saying women are supposed to be subjugated to men. But check this out. If anyone is disposed to be contentious, we have no such custom, nor do the churches of God. It's a brilliant rhetorical move.
St. Paul says, oh, yeah, of course. Well, women shouldn't be the head of the house. Men should be the head of the house. And then at the end, he says, but we don't do that, and nor does anybody following God.
All nefarious. Let's go to this pastor talking about Charlie Kirk.
Did not deserve to die like that. Nobody deserves to die because of their opinions, because of their political views. Church is quiet. Nobody deserves to be assassinated in a democracy because they may feel a way that's different than another person. At the same time, that person who is assassinated could have been a very problematic person to people who don't look like them in this nation. So we can critique assassination, but also call out the rhetoric that he used and say, you shouldn't have been saying that in the first place. And then for a president to lower a flag half-mast for Charlie Kirk, but not acknowledge the legislators who were assassinated in Minnesota, not even acknowledge them. As a president, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You're not the president of the people you like. You're the president of all American people. And so everybody say nuance. It's nuance. It's complex. And you can't just come in with your, you know, your parochial, limited, narrow view of life. Be broader to listen to other perspectives at the same time, because you can walk and chew gum. Two things can be true at the same time. Our president is problematic to the safety of all Americans in this nation. White, black, green, purple, red, orange, blue. President Trump's rhetoric is divisive. You don't come back after something that tragic and blame the left, because the left didn't shoot up Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston. The left didn't shoot up Sandy Hook Elementary School. The left is left and right. And if we're going to be balanced, you got to be balanced on left and right, or else you have a nation with vertigo. And it's hard to walk straight when you're dizzy. The left and the right have to balance and find a way to live together, or else we're going to die together. And I want to just say, be nuanced. Come on, look down your row, say nuanced. And when somebody starts talking crazy, just look at him when you don't have the energy and say, that's a nuanced conversation. They won't even know what you just said. And that'll be your exit to move on and enjoy the rest of your day. Because this joy that I have, I ain't letting nobody take this joy that I have, because the world didn't give it. Come on, church. World can't take it away. I'm getting out.
And so, you know, if you ask me, what Trump is trying to do, basically, thank you, Ann Brown said, excellent reporting. Thank you, beloved. You know, what Trump is trying to do, in my opinion, is trying to make everybody just bow down to these Christian nationalists and take whatever they're preaching as the word. Okay, because you all do know that Trump has an anti-Christian, he has an anti-Christian bias task force. Did you all know that? Yeah. Yeah, this was reported September the 12th. Okay, Trump task force releases initial report on anti-Christian bias. Sounds like he's trying to be like the Jews, okay? With the anti-Semitism. That's what it sounds like where Trump is headed. Okay, so listen to this. A task force commissioned by the Trump administration earlier this year has issued a preliminary report containing examples where Christians' political, social, and humanitarian contributions were devalued, their beliefs marginalized, and their communities unlawfully targeted, okay, by the White House's previous occupants, and that would be the Biden administration. The consistent and systemic pattern of discrimination against Christians during the Biden administration was outlined in a report dated June 6th, but only recently released. Now, the president announced the formation of the task force at this year's National Prayer Breakfast, saying that if we don't have religious liberty, then we don't have a free country. We probably don't even have a country. This is what he told attendees on the same day that he signed the executive order on eradicating anti-Christian bias. Now, I want you all to pay attention, because is there really a problem, an epidemic, an issue of anti-Christian bias going on in America right now? I've never heard of it. Have any of you? I did not realize that Christians were being oppressed and that they were being shunned and devalued. Did anyone else hear anything about this? Because I think this is something that Trump and the right just made up. Now, with that all being said, this report has brought to light what those of us who work diligently behind the scenes to oppose the progressive policies of the prior administration knew to be true. This is what Miles Mullen, acting president of the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission, said, saying that the Biden administration repeatedly discriminated against individuals and organizations who ran afoul of its aggressive agenda on matters related to sexual exploitation, gender identity, and abortion. The report marks only the beginning of the overall inquiry if it clarified. Now, the investigation will continue toward a detailed report and recommendations by February. Okay, a final report will follow. Numerous instances of anti-Christian bias occurred through the federal government during the Biden administration, according to a preliminary review. This is news to me. Now, the examples include that of Paul Vaughn and 5 others who were convicted of violating the freedom of access to clinic entrances known as FACE, F-A-C-E, the FACE Act, where they prayed, sang hymns, and read scripture outside of Mount Juliet, Tennessee abortion clinic in March of 2021. The group was among 23 abortion protesters pardoned by Trump in January. Other examples include replacing the Office of Faith-Based Initiatives with a Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion DEI office, and those fired from or harassed at their job for their Christian beliefs, both in the public and private sectors. The Department of Veterans Affairs alone said it has received approximately 1,500 responses and reviewed 500 of them alleging anti-Christian biases. Now, after the initial meeting held on April the 22nd, Attorney General Pam Bondi asked agencies to submit reports that would describe additional evidence of anti-Christian actions within their agency. They were also asked to identify remedial actions underway and future areas of action. Those findings will be submitted and reviewed at another task force meeting later this year. Now, the Department of Justice has begun addressing anti-Christian bias not only within its own agency, but also in state and local governments, according to the report, by use of the DOJ's unique investigatory and litigation authority. Okay, they said the DOJ reached out to the ERLC for assistance in gathering its information. They say the task force makes this commitment. The federal government will never again be permitted to turn its power against people of faith. Faith is not a liability in America, it is a liberty. People of faith should not be clandestinely forced to fund abortion or choose between maintaining their biblical convictions regarding marriage, sexuality, and gender, or being able to serve as foster parents. This is what Mullen says. And then says, not only do such policies mean that preborn children die and children in need are denied a home, they also trample on the religious liberty rights of millions of Americans. So we are grateful for this report and that the current administration's Department of Justice reached out to our DC team to give input for this report. But even more so, we're deeply grateful that many of the discriminatory actions of the previous administration have been reversed in order to restore the rights of the people of faith in America. I find this all interesting because Trump is supposed to be a man of faith. I beg to differ. Okay, I absolutely beg to differ. This all sounds crazy to me, but let's see what Conscious Lee has to say about this, and then I'm out of here. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance.
But really put it in context. The United States federal government, Donald Trump and them, just created an anti-Christian discrimination task force where they're not being able to account for how all these mass few is happening by a whole bunch of able-bodied Christians, some white men. At the same time, you have Supreme Court justified to be able to racially profile, being able to police and surveil you based off the language or your job. But we have all this violence happening towards kids by the same demographic, but this demographic, as a group, is always seen as individuals. You can be seen as a lone wolf that's an exception to the rule, but everybody else is always already seen as being rational. But if you have an individual from that demographic, from that religion, from that part of the world, the entire religion, the entire region, their entire race got to be held accountable. And it's seen as an exceptional example of how all y'all is. To me, I would say this is the transcendence of whiteness, and how even though people try to say there's no such thing as white privilege, there's no such thing as white preference. Hey, the privilege of not being criminalized, the privilege of being able to be seen as an individual, regardless of a pattern or statistic that says that this particular thing is most likely to happen when it's done by these people right here. Then you have people here right here being engaging in bad faith. What about gang violence? I can tell when you say the word gang, it is a synonym for this right here, but you don't recognize that gangs permeate every single culture. We got motorcycle gangs that definitely ain't got nobody black up in there. We got all type of different Asian gangs, Mexican gangs. So when you say gang violence,
the KKK is a gang. Okay, the Proud Boys, the white nationalists, the neo-Nazis, all of these are gangs. They don't identify them as that. So when they mention gangs, they look at people like me, but those are gangs as well, okay, at the end of the day. And also, the police are the biggest gang in the United States.
violence, I can tell people use it as like a, not you in the comment, but like people talk about this particular, you know what I'm saying, conversation. You know what I mean? It's like you engaging in bad faith. You're not being real. So you think that an individual wearing that colored bandana is going to a school, to a movie theater, to a church? Come on, man. And this last thing I hear on this point right here. So it only accounts as PV, Palo Valau. I put it in the comments what I'm saying right here. When it accounts for somebody that you care about. Because if it's an individual, because the same demographic we're doing everybody like this. Whether we talking about Kirk, not Franklin, or whether we talking about what happened at these schools or what happened this last weekend, it's done by the same people. But it only accounts for Palo Velo when it's people they care about, not the children. They can pass a whole bunch of anti-trans bills towards kids to make sure we're protecting the kids, but when it comes to
Okay, so you all heard that. All crazy at the end of the day. Okay, these people are trying to just force their religion down everybody else's throat, is what it sounds like. And you better not say anything about it. You better not call them racist or wanton supremacists. That's what it sounds like they're heading for. Okay, but here's the thing. Let me just tell you all this update on David. Here's another update on David that I forgot to mention. This came out today as well. David could have been notified about the open Tesla trunk. Okay, so let's talk about it. So they're saying that David's car had all these features, his 2023 Model Y Tesla, okay? It basically moved beyond the standard key and fob, with many using a Tesla app to open and drive the vehicle. So the app's chock full of helpful features, including the ability to send a push notification to your car if you leave your trunk open for more than 10 minutes. So they're saying that whoever put Celeste's body in the front of the car, if it took longer than 10 minutes for them to get her in there, David could likely have received a notification about it. They say, to be clear, we don't know for a fact David does have notifications on, or even if he has the app. You can purchase a regular key fob from Tesla, which just needs to be on your person when you go to the door. And the car also comes with key cards, which can unlock the vehicle as well. So obviously the Tesla loaded up with the cameras. It's loaded up with cameras too. Dash cam and cameras on the side of the vehicle that activate if it's in Sentry mode. Sentry mode turns the cameras of the vehicle, or even turns the cameras of the vehicle, or even while parked. If a threat is detected or the vehicle sensors determine there is a lot of jerky movement, like when getting towed or shaken. Okay, so this will be activated. However, Sentry mode is disabled by default, and you need a Tesla USB flash drive plugged in to record around the clock. And again, we don't know if David had this setting enabled or if he had the flash drive, which would allow him to review the footage. So that's pretty interesting. Somebody says, based on his previous tour schedule, I don't believe he actually killed her, but he has to know who did, and I'm sure that person was compensated generously. Okay, some people are thinking that he did it. Somebody else says, whether he killed her or not, he showed no emotions for the girl. He continued on with his tour like nothing was wrong, having the best time of his life, completely unfazed by it all, which speaks volumes. Well, if he killed her and went on tour, that's absolutely crazy. Okay, because who does that? And also, they said that Celeste's death certificate defers the cause of death. And then they did say that she wasn't pregnant. So they basically said that the death certificate shows what we expected. The cause of death is being deferred, while the LA County Medical Examiner and the LAPD try to establish how she died. All right. So anyway, that's the news for now. Mel said David's music is describing what happened to her. I absolutely think so. Okay, and I think that he was a hoe rapist and that he was a PDF file. What she said in that video that I showed you all, when she said it's controversial for him to be graping, little people. All right. At the end of the day, that was very telling. Okay, that was very telling as far as I'm concerned. What was he doing dealing with somebody at that age? Just goes to make me think that there's nothing you can put past him. Okay, in my opinion. So with that all being said, I'm going to conclude the broadcast. Okay, I want to thank you all for tuning in once again. Please like, share, subscribe to the channel. Double check to make sure you're still subscribed, especially if you haven't been receiving the notifications. I hope you all enjoy the rest of this evening, and I will see you all in the morning with your morning wake-up call. Timothy says, great broadcast, Queen. I appreciate you. Thank you, beloved, and I appreciate you as well. Okay, so each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first. Hold on. I'm sorry. Before I roll out of here, I got to say this. Can we just have a moment of prayer for this young woman? Her name was Nuki Sylvester. Nuki was 23 years old and she took her life. And I saw this the other day when she posted it, and I meant to bring it up to you all. She said, my favorite colors are pink and black. I want my sons in all pink. Real men wear pink and they will be real men. I don't know where I am, but I know I was tired. I love everybody that loved me. I made it to 23 with 3 kids. If this touched Facebook, I'm gone. So prayers and condolences to Nuki Sylvester's family, to her 3 sons. At the end of the day, this is very sad and heartbreaking. And all these young people taking themselves out of here, they likely feel like they have the weight of the world on their shoulders. And I know that sometimes, things get hard and difficult. People become depressed. They feel like they don't have anyone in their corner, like everything is all on them. And I just wish that they would talk to somebody, try to get some sort of counseling, call an USAID hotline if you need to, do anything that you can, but don't take yourself out of here, because I promise you, whatever problems you may be going through, no matter how bad it gets, no matter how hard it seems, problems do not last always. Okay? Just remember, problems don't last always. Joy cometh in the morning, and you'll never know that if you take yourself out. Okay, this is very sad. And like I said, I feel really, really sorry for her sons that she has left to grieve. And also, I want you all to think about that other lady who tried to drown her 3 children that I reported on days ago. She tried to drown her 3 children and said that she was going to take herself out because she was going through all this stuff and everything, and the children's father wasn't helping or whatever. That lady was selfish. Okay, that lady was selfish, because even if she felt like she wanted to end her life, why would she try to take out her children? Okay, that was just evil and wicked as far as I'm concerned. It made it very difficult for me to have sympathy for her. I had sympathy for her children that she tried to take out, but it was very hard for me to muster up even a little bit of sympathy for her because of the evil act that she tried to commit. Okay, thank God her family saved her and reached her and the kids in time. But for Nuki Sylvester, Nuki would never have harmed her kids. She only felt like she had the weight of the world on her, and she said she was just tired. And let me just tell you all something. If you have a friend, family member, coworker, whomever, if they tell you that they're tired, like they feel like they can't go on, please try to have a conversation with them. Okay, to encourage them and to uplift them and let them know that they are loved and cared about, and they don't have to deal with things on their own. Because this is nothing more than the devil and his minions talking to people, influencing people. And I want you all to remember something. At the end of the day, when people take their own lives, that is absolutely demonic. Okay, that's demonic activities. Okay, demons come to people when they're going through things, when they're having a hard time, and start influencing them to do things like this. The devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Okay, and then people will be thinking these are their own thoughts, but these are not their thoughts. These are thoughts manufactured for them by Satan's minions. Okay, and very, very often people feel like they don't have anyone to talk to, and this is the sad result of that. Remember what I told you all in the spiritual channel, that there's 3 stages of demonic possession. Okay, there's oppression, infestation, and then full-on possession. The first stage is oppression. Okay, the demons will absolutely oppress you to the point that you no longer want to be here. All right. So please keep that in mind. And if you are going through some sort of mental health issues, please try to get help somewhere. Talk to a trusted friend, family member, someone in the church, maybe your pastor, okay, a counselor. Try to get someone that you can talk to and share your thoughts with. Don't try to deal with it on your own, okay? And talk to the Most High, okay? And be encouraged. Read the 91st Psalm, a prayer of protection, okay? Read the 23rd Psalm and the prayer of Saint Michael. All right? But whatever you do, don't take a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Okay, Desmond said, I always tell my coworkers to be nice to people and to be a blessing to someone. You never know what people are going through. And this is all true. Absolutely. Okay, this is all true. All right. Thank you for your comment, Desmond. All right, your insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, at the end of the day, you know, my moderator Silent D, who passed recently, took his own life. And before Silent D took his life, he left us a message in the royal court. Now, can you all imagine how we all felt hearing that message that Silent D left for the last time? And we all knew what he was going to do when we heard the message. And then when we're calling him and he's not answering his phone, it's likely he didn't want anyone to talk him out of it. So we have to get to people before they make that fateful decision, because sometimes there is no talking them out of it once they've gotten to that point. Okay, so please pay attention and say something nice to somebody. You never know what a person's going through. Okay, so thank you, Desmond, for that. With that all being said, we're going to always grieve Silent D and feel like, you know, we failed him. We did what we could do. But at the end of the day, sometimes the help is not accepted and there's nothing you can do. With that all being said, I love you all to life. Enjoy the rest of this night. Each one teach one. That's how we're going to thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got